Hi, I'm Steven, the host of the MENA Surge podcast, your ultimate source for Web3 and fintech-related news in the MENA region. We're powered by FinTech Surge and Future Blockchain Summit in association with GITEX Global, an integral part of Expand North Star taking place October 13th through 16th at Dubai Harbour. We're excited to be partnering with Web3 TV and its host Ornella Hernandez for Web3 Talks.
Thanks for joining us, Mona.
Thank you for having me, Stephen. Very excited to be here. I know we've been wanting to do this, so good to join you.
Absolutely, it's super refreshing to have something as unique as comedy in the Web3 space as our guest on this podcast. So I would love it if you could just tell us a little bit more about yourself, a little bit more about Web3 as a joke, and how you came to make comedy out of the Web3 space.
Yeah, so I've been a touring stand-up comic for 14 years now, and I during the pandemic, as all of us were cooped up at home, my neighbor got me, he was like, "Hey, do you invest in Bitcoin?" And I was like, "No, I've been looking at crypto, I've been looking at Bitcoin." He's like, "Let me show you how you invest in Bitcoin." So I started investing in Bitcoin, kind of went down the rabbit hole, didn't really come back out, and then as the world started opening back up, I was attending a lot of these, crypto events and Web3 events, and I realized that there's just a lot of nerds at these events. Like this entire, every event I went to was just a bunch of nerds hanging out, and I was like, oh my God, this is very technical and very boring. And I was like, I can make this fun. I can make this a lot funner. Because I had already been producing comedy shows for the past 8 years here in Los Angeles. So I came up with the idea of Web3 is a joke. And we started doing these comedy roasts in the Web3 and crypto space. We launched. We had our debut event about a year and a half ago. We had an amazing event with Crypto NDO and Altcoin Daily guys, and had a Phil Ranta. We had a fantastic panel. And it kind of morphed into, I realized, I was like, man, there's not enough comedy. Like we need to, less nerdiness and more comedy. So we turned it into a comedy roast. And ever since, it's been doing incredibly well. We have had nothing but sold out shows since. We did San Francisco, San Diego. We did Bitcoin Miami. That was sold out. And and it's been pretty fantastic. So no complaints there.
That's great. So basically, you wanted to just make fun of nerds. It's kind of how you got into the Web3 comedy space.
You got to make fun of nerds, man. Like, I don't know if you're saying, but nerds will inherit the earth. They say that in Bible, it says meek shall inherit the earth. I think we should cross off meek and just switch that up with nerds. Look at all your new rock stars, your Elon Musks, your Zuckerberg, your now the Nvidia guy, Hansen, like they're all nerds. They're all nerds.
Fair. So do you think that the best thing was to make comedy about them being nerds, or maybe to just help them be a little bit more social, a little bit more charismatic, I guess? What do you think is the funniest thing about Web3? Is it just the characters that are within the Web3 space, or is the subject of Web3 what you would consider funny in itself?
I think there's funny in most things in life, but I think to me, I don't know if what's so funny about Web3. I think it's the characters that have stepped into Web3 pretending to be Web3, but they're not. Like your likes of SBF, whose head looks like it's a sea urchin. Like, and I'm just so confused by all these like billionaires and all these nerds. Like, you can afford a haircut, like get a better hairstylist. And if you look at all these different characters, all these people who were like scamming people out of NFTs, NFT money, so many people like lost so much of their money, which is not the funny part. But what fascinates me is that how people were getting skimmed and had been getting skimmed for their money, and plus just this whole battle between fiat and crypto, and how central banks are putting up this fight. And now, of course, that they've, are participating, like your BlackRock, who now own more Bitcoin than MicroStrategy's owned by Michael Saylor, you have to kind of stop and ask yourself, like, why, central banks are realizing like this is the future. And I feel like there's a lot of jokes to be had.
Absolutely. So what do you think is the funniest thing about Web3? I mean, it seems like you started off with comedy, and then you sort of discovered this Web3 space, this crypto space, and you thought, hey, this is pretty funny. I can make fun of this. What do you think is the thing that made you realize, hey, I can actually like make an entire thing out of this? There's actually enough material here to create an entire business out of it. What's so funny about it that you realized this is what I'm going to focus on now?
Well, with Web3, the fact that it's the new lingo, right? That people are so scared and so intimidated. I'll tell you, like, one of my core reasons why I started Web3 as a joke is to help with the mass adoption, because people just don't understand. People are, most of the time, like when I talk to Web2 people, they're really intimidated, by the lingo. They're intimidated by what a blockchain is. They're intimidated by what Web3 is. They're intimidated by what a crypto is, what a Bitcoin is. And I think the best way, in my experience and in my opinion, is to create an environment which, comedy is a great neutralizer, to be able to create an environment, a comedic environment where people can still come and laugh that are in the Web2 world and still get curious and still learn, about what all this Web3 business is. What the hell is what's a Solana? What's a whatever? What's an Ethereum? Like, is it a disorder of some kind, or it's an actual currency? Like, what is it? What's an NFT? Is it a disease? Like, what is this thing? I think so many people are really intimidated by it, and I really wanted to create a space where people feel less intimidated and actually curious, because it is indeed beneficial for them, and that's where the future is headed.
For sure. Do you think that that the people that say that they understand Web3 and blockchain and virtual assets understand it as much as they claim to?
You mean people who are attending? Like, what do you mean?
So, I mean, obviously, like, this is kind of new technology. And one of the things that I've always kind of criticized for this space is that the blockchain technology, I feel like a lot of the language is a little bit too technical. Like, most people, they don't need to know how the technology works. They just need to know what the technology can do. What are the use cases? What are the applications? Yeah. Do you believe that a lot of people are talking about this technology that don't actually understand the technology behind it, such as NFTs? Do you think that a lot of people really understand NFTs as much as they claim to?
I mean, look, I don't know if there's any, I haven't done a survey about it, so I wouldn't be able to kind of give you a proper answer about, what percentage of those people actually understand the technology. I'll tell you one thing, I came across a rapper who, just wants to be part of the hot, of things about what's happening in crypto and blockchain and NFTs. And he's like, yeah, man, that's cool. And, he's like throwing up like whatever gang signs and stuff. And he's like, yeah, that's the future. And I am pretty freaking sure that this guy has no clue what an NFT stands for. He has no idea that what a blockchain stands for. But some people just want to be part of the cool wave. They want to pretend like they know what's happening, or they want to come across as smart or informed. But I think in the long run, all of it kind of plays and caters towards the mass adoption. And it's like, okay, great. At least you're better than someone like Peter Schiff here, who blatantly and vehemently denies the existence and the validity of Bitcoin and crypto, right? So I'd rather take the phony rapper dude who knows what he's talking about when it comes to blockchain than someone like Peter Schiff, who vehemently denies the innovation that is known as Bitcoin and crypto.
Do you think that comedy is a good way to educate people? Do you think that, the people that attend your shows will walk away with a better understanding of Web3 and the Web3 space, or are they just going to walk away thinking Web3 is actually quite funny?
Our objective is entertainment, education, and networking. That's what we are about. So, if you're a Web2 person, you're definitely going to walk away with a lot more knowledge, a lot more curiosity. If you're a Web3 person, you're going to land and understand every joke and nuance that that we're going to be talking about when it comes to making fun of anyone who is a Dogecoin holder or anyone, or whatever. Like we're roasting everything and anything and everyone in the Web3 space. So, I just feel like comedy is indeed such a great neutralizer and a great educator. I mean, the great George Bernard Shaw, who was a British playwright, and I'm going to paraphrase here. He says that, when you make people laugh, so when they open their mouth, you slip the truth in it. And I think that's exactly what we're attempting to do with Web3 is a joke. So, we're not just roasting the industry. We're not just roasting the players in it, but we're also roasting each other. So it's a lot more fun to poke also fun at each other. So somebody actually, one of the comics at the last show made a joke about me, which I absolutely loved. And she said that, Mona started her comedy in New York. And September 11th also took place in New York. So there's two tragedies that hit New York City.
Wow, it sounds like you're really great at your job then.
Which I thought was absolutely precious. I thought it was a phenomenal joke. Somebody else said, Mona grew up in a conservative Muslim family, and they put the burqa on her, not because they don't want men to see her. It's just that she was irritating. Our voice is so irritating to men, so that they were trying to shut her up. Which I was like, that's accurate. That's really accurate.
Wow, I think that you're giving yourself all the accolades. You're definitely going to have a sold out show when you come to Dubai.
I'm so excited. I am absolutely excited. And I'm not going to lie, I'm also a little nervous, right? Because, in America, we roast each other and we just kind of openly say, pretty crazy stuff to each other. So, of course, we want to be mindful. We want to be respectful of the Emirati culture. But I'm excited nonetheless.
That's great. I did want to talk about the influencers. I think that's to me, that's one of the funniest things about the crypto space is that all of these crypto gurus, crypto influencers, there's tons of aliases now for just people that claim to know everything there is to know about crypto. Do you think that these people are influencers first or crypto people first?
You mean the crypto influencers?
Yes. So let me explain a little bit more. So when I see a lot of them, I kind of wonder, like, do you care more about what's happening with the coin itself, or do you care more about your engagement rate? Do you care more about what your followers are doing, or do you care more about what your Bitcoin and crypto are doing? It always just makes me wonder, like, okay, somebody might be an influencer in fashion or in makeup or in music, and then now you can have an influencer in crypto. Well, I feel like to build up a following is kind of the same formula. The social media following formula is still the same, and they pretty much have to behave the way influencers do, regardless of their niche. So do you think that these Web3 influencers are worth their salt in the Web3 space, or are they just people that, hack the social media algorithms?
Honestly, I've been very fortunate to work with, Altcoin Daily and, Phil Renta and Crypto NDO. And these, they have a lot of value that they provide to their followers. I mean, look, people are following you for a reason. They see value in what is it that you're providing them, regardless of what you invest in personally as an influencer. But they genuinely are providing really fantastic value. I mean, gosh, even before I met Altcoin Daily, I used to watch them and listen to them. Like, same goes with Robert Breedlove. I absolutely love that guy. I love listening to Michael Saylor. I love listening to Anthony Pompliano. Like, these people are brilliant. They have a lot of value to offer to their followers. and that's why they have the kind of following that they have, and then that's why they have the kind of engagement that they have, because people don't stick around. Look, you have to understand there's so much to see on the internet. The fact that you can captivate someone's attention, that they're going to subscribe to you and they're going to keep coming back to your channel to get the latest and the greatest, and then know that they're going to get the right information and the most authentic way. Like, yeah, if that's what you call hacking the algorithm, then God bless. They have hacked the algorithm, and I'm here to support them.
That's great. I mean, it sounds like the content that actually is coming from the Web3 space is genuine content that you can actually listen to and actually trust, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, and they're not speaking in absolute. They're not like this is the absolute truth and there's nothing else. It's like go make up your own decision, right? You have critical thinking abilities. Go listen to multiple different people and then make your own decision, right? If one influencer is telling you to hodl, some coin, and then other ones like no sell, that's on you. Like, they're not giving financial advice. They're saying go figure it out for yourself. And this is, in my opinion, or this is what I've observed, that this is what I've experienced. And here it is. Like Jeremy Da Vinci, I think he's in Dubai also. He's one of my favorite influencer guys that I love to follow. I love to listen to him, especially when his alarm goes off at 5 a.m. I'm like, how does he do it? How does he wake up at 5 a.m? Because for us comics, that's when we're usually going to sleep. So I'm like, God bless, man. God bless you. Wake up at 5 a.m. To go hit the gym. But I feel like these guys have a lot of fantastic value to provide, and that's why they have the kind of following they do.
Amazing. So I know that you started off with comedy, and then you transitioned into comedy in the Web3 space. Has your comedy career taken off since Web3, or have you just kind of found the niche that nobody else has really tapped into yet?
I think my career was doing pretty nice before that. I mean, I've been very fortunate to open for a lot of really big guys. I've been doing comedy I've been a touring comic for 14 years, which is a pretty significant time, considering being an immigrant, being a woman of color, trying to beat a lot of odds to be able to, get the kind of spots and get the spotlights I've been able to get. I've opened for Jay Leno like 7 times. I've opened for Joe Coy, Margaret Cho, Patton Oswalt. I had my own show that I started 8 years ago at the Comedy Store called Minority Reports. That is now a nationally touring show here in the U.S. that got its own TV channel. I've been very fortunate to be in several publications. And this is not me tooting my own horn. You were talking about the success of my career, so I feel very, very fortunate. I've been in LA Times, LA Weekly, the Huffington Post, Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC. MSNBC brought me on about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, on a show where they were showcasing eight of the most powerful Asian women in the U.S., and I was one of the 8 women that they showcased. So very fortunate to have had phenomenal opportunities. And also, I've worked extremely hard to be where I am. Like, I haven't never taken anything for granted. But I think with Web3 is a joke, I see where the market's headed. And I also see the absolute benefit of how Web3 benefits comedians. The biggest problem with comedians, and I'm sure they face the same issue in Dubai or in the Middle East as they do in the US, and this is the sense that, it's hard to make a living as a comic. It's really hard to make a living unless you're like in the top 1%, like your Joe Coys and your Kevin Harts and your Chappelles and your Rocks. Like, you are struggling as a comic. You have to go on the road, hoping that you're going to be able to pull in, whatever, $3,000-$4,000 for the weekend if you hustle really, really hard. Or you have to go out and perform on cruise ships. So you're pretty much gone for 1 to 2 weeks, or even some people are gone for like multiple months, for 6 months. They're just gone. They're just living on a ship, And if you have a family or if you want to have a life, like, it's a hard life. Like, being a comic is a really hard life. So I think what Web3 is going to do and is doing now, the ownership of the content, the ownership of the fan base, the fact that you get to put your own value on how much you want to get paid for your content. So, as comedians, when we put our content out on different social media platforms, we're barely making chump change. I recently put a video out on YouTube and I got 100,000 views, and then YouTube was like, yeah, you're gonna get paid $2.47 on it. I was like, I can't even go to Starbucks with that money. Like Starbucks will turn me away because their coffee is more expensive than that, right? So, I think the ownership aspect, I feel like Web3 is a phenomenal liberator and a great way for comedians to actually make a living and actually be able to, be able to live their lives the way they want to, rather than constantly relying on the gatekeepers to give them blessing to be able to pursue what they love.
Yeah, I think you touched on a lot of points there. To be honest, it's actually a little bit off topic, but you did mention you can make $3,000 to $4,000 for the weekend if you hustle. And then of course you talked about your YouTube video had 100,000 views and you made less than $3 off of that. I mean, we're definitely into the creators economy these days, right? You see content creators all over the place trying to make it big on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. OnlyFans. so we see a lot of this sort of content creator economy, and I think that a lot of people from the outside looking in might hear you say, okay, well, $3,000 to $4,000 for the weekend if you hustle. I think that a lot of people might look at that and think, well, that's pretty good money for the weekend. It sounds like you're a little bit complaining about that, but I think a lot of people would say, hey, if I can make $3,000 to $4,000 on the weekend, sign me up for comedy.
Well, imagine this. Imagine if you've been doing comedy for 20 years, 25 years. Okay. And the only way that you can make a living is to go on the road because the gatekeepers or the powers to be somehow don't find your content funny, or they don't think you're funny enough. So if you've put in 20 years of your life, or 25 or even 30 years of your life perfecting your craft, and if you're putting in $3,000 to $4,000 in a weekend, in my opinion, that is not a lot of money. That is not a lot of money at all. At all. Putting in 20 years of your life, 25 years of your life, that's just, I'm sorry, that's just crazy talk.
Makes sense. I mean, definitely, I was just kind of taking a little jab at you just to see if you can clarify that for some of the audience that might think, hey, I mean, how much could you possibly have to work for $4,000? And the truth is, sometimes 20, 30 years in order to make that $4,000 on the
And
weekend,
not just
right?
that. And then think about this, right? If you have an agent or a manager, they're coming and taking their cut. Then Uncle Sam comes in. Then you have to pay taxes. You have your cost of living, which is our inflation is through the roof in the U.S. right now. I live in California. We pay the highest taxes in the country. So at the end of the day, what are you taking home? What are you taking home? You're taking home maybe what, 30% of your paycheck, if that. So what's your savings? So that means you got to get back out on the road, hustle like crazy, hope that you're going to make that money. In the meantime, you're just spending the best years of your life, hoping that you're going to, crack into the big time, which more than likely is not the case, right? So if you've invested 15, 20, 30 years of your life, you should at least be able to make a living at what you love and you are actually good at. Just because the gatekeepers don't bless you doesn't mean you're not good.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, I think that especially here in Dubai, in the Middle East, there's a lot of people that might want to be a musician or an athlete or even a comedian, and their parents might be saying the same things to them that you're saying right now. What would you have to an aspiring young comedian that wants to convince their parents that it's not a phase, mom, it's not a phase, dad, I can actually make it big? Is there a silver lining in all this?
My advice to them is don't do it. Unless you have a lot of childhood trauma, don't do it. It's not worth it. I do comedy because it's cheaper than therapy. If you come from a nice, healthy family, there is no need to do comedy. There are way better ways to go make a living, truly. I mean this with all sincerity, because being a stand-up comic is a really, really hard life. And you have to hate yourself just a little bit to be able to keep going, and to, and have this kind of faith in yourself that you're going to actually make a living at it. because it is indeed really hard to make a living. Now, with social media, of course, it's gotten a lot easier to be able to put your content out and hoping that you're going to go viral or, build a following. And God bless, if you end up doing that, God bless, I say go for that. But I think if you're a young comic, just know that being a comic is a really hard life. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to give this a try for 2 years or 5 years, 10 years. And then, and everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is very, very different. So I can't even comment on that. Like the way I kind of fell into comedy is bizarre. I would have never thought I'd become a stand-up comic, but I somehow did. And here I am.
Okay, so don't do it. Don't do it. If you have
Right,
a
listen,
dream,
you come from a good
kill
family,
that dream today.
don't do it. Even if your parents have hugged you and loved you, don't do it. If your parents once said to you, I'm proud of you, don't do it. This is not for you.
Fair. So what comes next? So, obviously, these days, Web3, blockchain, crypto is a big fad. Obviously, it's the big thing that everyone's talking about. Maybe in 5 years, it'll be more common and just kind of less funny to talk about something that was like really popular 5-10 years ago. So do you see yourself kind of getting deeper into the Web3 space, maybe becoming more of like a crypto influencer and being the one that knows the most about the Web3 space? Or, is the comedy really where your heart is and you'll kind of chase the next trend that, we kind of see in the space?
I'm not necessarily a trend chaser. I think what I see in Web3, like I've mentioned to you, is a great deal of value. My next move is I truly want Web3 as a joke to be the premier comedy event at every major crypto conference around the world. That's my main objective. And in addition to that, I'm kind of working on a project that I can't talk about a great deal, but I am building a platform as well that I'm very passionate about, and that platform is about benefiting artists. So that's another thing that I'm building that I'm very, very excited about. But I'll share that with you in due time.
Great. And can you tell us like the funniest thing that has happened or the funniest thing you've seen is since you've been in Web3 comedy?
In Web3 comedy or just in Web3?
Either one. I mean, whatever anecdotes or stories that you have that you're in a funny space. So Web3 alone is already a funny space, and you're in the comedy space. So I'm sure you've seen some things that a lot of the audience would be not that privy to. What are some of the things that you've noticed since you've been in this space that just kind of really cracks you up? Or anything that a certain player has said? Is there anybody that's actually funnier than they seem in real life? Just kind of what are your experiences that you might have gotten a chance to experience that other people might not have access to?
I mean, look, people haven't had access to Web3 is a joke yet. So when you come to our show, you'll see, I bring in a pretty stellar lineup of comedians, roast battle comedians that are on Comedy Central or Netflix, and some phenomenal crypto influencers and Web3 influencers. But as far as like Web3 goes, I think there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in Web3. I think hands down for me, the funniest thing that I have witnessed thus far, and I've roasted this guy a lot, is SBF and his girlfriend. Truly, this guy has I don't know how G or PG rated I can keep here. So you have to tell me. So before I tell this joke.
Let's hear it. I mean, we always have editors. We can cut things out if it's
Are you gonna bleep it out? Gonna bleep this out?
It'll be the first time, and I'm looking forward to it if we have to.
You're like, all right, yeah, and there goes that trip to Dubai. Okay, now
We'll talk about that after.
SBF is a very fascinating character to me. I was talking about also Gary Gensler, who's also a fascinating character to me. I think that Gary Gensler looks like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. I don't know if you've ever seen the similarity, but do put them side by side and you'll see the similarity. But SBF, SBF talks about the fact that he's a vegan, but he's in prison now, so we definitely know he's gonna be consuming a lot of meat. And by meet, I mean his roommate.
Yeah, we get that. We get that. Yeah, it makes total sense. I mean, you mentioned you're afraid that.
Is this getting bleeped out, or is this being kept in, Stephen? Be honest.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I guess we're just going to say there's not a lot of vegan options in your jail cell.
No, no, it's not. He is definitely on a meat diet for sure.
For sure. And you mentioned, you're nervous about saying the wrong things when you come to Dubai, and I think that now is a great time to mention the reason why you and I started talking is because we're trying to bring you to Dubai for the Future Blockchain Conference. Tell us a little bit about what you're excited about Dubai, about the Future Blockchain Summit, and what we can expect to see from you while you're here.
Man, I think I've been wanting to come to Dubai and bring Web3 as a joke to Dubai, so I feel very fortunate to get connected to you, thanks to our mutual friend Saker, whom I got connected to via Telegram, and he's just been so kind and so gracious. So big shout out to Saker, the homie of Crypto Oasis, good people. I am most excited about being part of. I haven't been to any crypto or Web3 conference or blockchain conference in Dubai yet. So I'm actually quite impressed by Emirates and their regulations and their how incredible they are when it comes to really to encourage this innovation and this thriving regulations that they have is just fantastic. I mean, we in America can really learn a thing or two from what Emirates is doing. I'm very, very impressed. So I've been wanting to come out to Dubai. I've been wanting to come out, and I've headlined comedy shows in Dubai before, but this time it would be more coming through Web3. So I'm very excited, and also just bringing Web3 as a joke, bringing on some big heavy hitters. I think I don't know if we can mention names yet because they're not. We're still in the middle of confirming some names, but I would love to come and mingle and see what kind of fantastic projects you guys are working on, and how can I be a part of it, and how can we make Web3 as a joke to be a part of the blockchain conference. I'm just very excited about what you guys have going on there. It's truly fantastic.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to seeing you, Mona. We're interested in seeing your unique style of comedy. We're interested in seeing how we can bring some laughter into this Web3 space. It seems like every year there's some sort of doomsday. Somebody gets arrested. Something crashes. Somebody else gets arrested, and sometimes it could be a little bit of a scary place. And we definitely appreciate someone like you kind of making fun of it and making light and bringing some laughter back into the space. So again, we look forward to seeing you October 13th through 16th at Dubai Harbour for the Future of Blockchain Summit alongside North Star, powered by Jitex. And, bring your shorts because it'll be hot in Dubai.
I'm definitely going to bring the shorts. I don't know. I don't know how halal they're going to be, but I'm going to bring them. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I don't know if I'm going to be wearing the shorts at the conference, though. I don't know how comfortable I feel about that. But I'll definitely bring my shorts for sure.
Sounds good. Okay, well, we'll talk to you later and see you in a few months.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks. Bye.